Welcome to the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Transport Briefing for Friday, March 15th. Over the last 1 to 2 weeks, we've seen storms move across the Great Basin, and over a week ago we saw above normal precipitation mainly to parts of Idaho, northern Nevada into western Utah, and also the Sierra into western Nevada. However, over this last week, we've seen precipitation taper off. Still some precipitation, especially in the mountains of Utah, parts of Idaho and in the north, and the Sierra as well. Over the last 72 hours, we have had new snowfall over mainly the eastern half of the Great Basin and mainly in the higher terrain. And these amounts generally were in the 6 to 12 inch range, although we did have some local areas in Utah that were above the 12-inch mark. Our snow depth is indicated on the right, and you can see from our snowpack, all areas of the Great Basin are near or above normal. The only exception is still central Idaho. It's sort of perked up to near normal briefly and then has now trickled back down to about 80 to 90% of normal. But still, snowpack doing fairly well or very well in most areas of the Great Basin. Even the Sierra, that was largely in a deficit much of the season, has now increased to near normal with the recent significant storm a couple weeks ago. The satellite loop from this morning shows low pressure spinning over Southern California with clouds and showers wrapping around into southern areas of the Great Basin and up into central Utah. But you can see the strong ridge of high pressure off the northwest coast, and that will be building in generally from the north and from the west into the Great Basin. So we will see those warmer temperatures and generally clear skies and precipitation-free areas, mainly over Idaho and the northern and western half of Nevada, and then also down into northern Utah and western Wyoming. But the southern areas of the Great Basin will remain with these clouds and showers for quite a few days with this area of low pressure spinning down south. So for later today, that area of low pressure moves slightly to the east. So again, those clouds and showers remain over the southern half of the Great Basin, with certainly much drier conditions over northern and western areas. The ventilation index will still be fairly good across Nevada and Utah, especially down into Arizona with these wraparound northeast winds, and they will be quite strong over parts of the Great Basin, especially in the higher terrain. So looking at the transport winds, again, you can see how gusty those winds will be, especially over southern Utah, where we'll see gusts over 50 miles per hour. Along the Sierra Crest and generally on the west side of the Sierra Crest, we'll also see very strong winds. And then across much of Nevada, Utah, into southern Idaho, more moderate winds, but still breezy with gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. Mixing heights with these increase in transport winds obviously will remain quite high. So looking at our temperatures and relative humidity today, we will see highs generally near normal in the mid to upper 50s over the northern half of the Great Basin, and really even into the southern areas of the Great Basin with that area of low pressure spinning down south. So we will see those drier, warmer conditions up north and cooler conditions down south, which really averages out to really similar temperatures for much of the Great Basin, which is unusual. Relative humidity will be driest over northern and western areas, where we will see relative humidity between about 25 and 30%. As we move into Saturday, this low only moves slightly to the east, so very similar weather conditions tomorrow that we will see today. And we will see those transport winds, gustiest mainly over northern Utah into Nevada with better dispersion. And so you can see how much of the winds really taper off across the Great Basin with the exception of northern Utah. Mixing heights will still remain quite high, and temperatures will tick up a few degrees, especially over northern and western areas where high temperatures will reach the low 60s. And then relative humidity very similar to what we'll see today with those similar weather conditions. As we move into Sunday, the low finally tracks into Arizona, but still keeping moisture wrapping around that low over southern Utah and the Arizona Strip, but should start to clear out of southern Nevada. Still could be some light pesky showers and some cloud cover. And then that ridge remains over northern and western areas, continuing to strengthen with warming temperatures. Dispersion will still be good across Nevada and Utah for any prescribed burning. And transport winds generally in the 20 to 30 mile per hour range across Nevada and Utah with still those high mixing heights. On Sunday, temperatures continue to increase with highs in the mid-60s now over western areas of Nevada and up into Idaho. And these temperatures are about 5 to 10 degrees above normal. And we are seeing temperatures gradually climb in southern areas and across Utah as well. Relative humidity will continue to drop as high pressure builds in, so we will see many areas in that 25 to 30% range for relative humidity. 3-day average precipitation, obviously with that area of low pressure down south, this is where all of the precipitation will occur. We will see some good amounts with areas seeing over a ½ inch or over 3/4 of an inch for southern Utah into southern Nevada and along the Arizona Strip. And some areas, especially in the higher terrain, will see liquid precipitation amounts over an inch, so we will see new additions to some of the snow down in the higher elevations. As we move into Monday, still some remnants of this low spinning down south, so keeping clouds and maybe some light showers in the far south. Still strong high pressure building now, kind of building east all the way into the northern Rockies and central areas of the Rocky Mountains, but again, still not progressing further south. And the dispersion will remain good over the southern half of the Great Basin. Still on Tuesday, the low continues to push east, so we're really not changing our weather conditions with drier, warmer conditions in the north and west, and those clouds and some showers and some cooler conditions in the far south. Finally, it's by the middle of next week that we see ridging for much of Nevada and Utah and Arizona, but now we're starting to see some areas of low pressure move over the top of the ridge and affecting Idaho, so we could see some clouds and light showers by the middle of next week. And then by Thursday, this is where we will start seeing the breakdown of the ridge and the pattern changing again, bringing areas of low pressure across the Great Basin, so better chances of some precipitation and cooler temperatures from later next week into the weekend. So our precipitation for days 4 and 5 taking us from Monday through Wednesday, again just some light precipitation down south. And then our days 6 and 7, this is taking us into the end of next week. So again, that return by the middle of the week of some areas of low pressure, bringing some showers to the far north. And again, that will eventually trickle down south. Right now, no major precipitation makers going through at least the end of next week. That could certainly change as we see more storms moving in next weekend and the following week. So our 7-day total precip, obviously much of the area in the south is what's happening here over the next few days. And then our 8 to 14-day outlook taking us from March 22nd through the 28th shows a return of wetter conditions for much of the west. So again, once that ridge breaks down mid to late next week, we will see a return of these storms moving through, bringing us opportunities of precipitation, some gusty winds, and higher humidity. And temperatures generally near to just below normal. So we will, after our warm temperatures this weekend into early next week, we will see a return of some cooler conditions. That concludes our briefing for today. Check back on Monday for the latest updates.